What is going on, everyone? It is Tyler McKinney back here again, and today we're talking about the NFL. Hey, that's right, we're going to get into a little bit of the No Fun League, and right now, I don't think things are fun for the NFL. If it's your first time here, glad to have you. If you're a return viewer, thanks for coming back, and thanks for watching more videos. And if you haven't yet, consider subscribing. I mean, seriously, why not? Well, thank you. I just want to say thank you to all of you guys out there who have been voting on the college football polls that I've had out there. And right now we have a dead heat. And I'm going to give just a little bit more time and reveal it here soon. It's a dead heat. Literally, Miami, Notre Dame, and Pitt are all tied. So really, it's up to you guys to make the final votes, because when I go to make my next college football video, that is what's going to be coming out. So get your votes in while you can. Really, I'm not going to be leaving it up for much longer than really a little bit of time after this video. So let's go ahead now. Let's turn our attention to the No Fun League. And it looks like, I guess I don't really need to cover a league for it to kind of start to fold and start to fall down. Yes, the mighty NFL is starting to waver a little bit. Now, if you're paying attention to the NFL, they had their kickoff game last night. And I don't really know how well it did. I didn't pay attention to it. I really didn't watch it. I know from reading articles and looking at things today that the Chiefs won. It seems like they turned things around, won pretty handily against the Texans. But things didn't go well for them, and that's not really the story. The story was really everything that happened before the game. And the No Fun League, they're trying to figure this thing out. And if you haven't figured from my channel so far, you know I'm not one that's into politics. Let me rephrase that. I'm not one, when I'm talking about sports, I don't want politics in my sports. I want to be able just to talk sports. I've been somebody who, listen, when I grew up, good night, I can't talk, get my thoughts and get my stuff together. When I grew up, the way that things were, and it used to be that you could talk the weather or sports with another guy. That's how things were. Those two topics were just kind of topics that you could just talk to somebody and not worry about any of the stuff that's political. People's views on things wouldn't be coming up, be thrown in your face, and you just were able to talk about sports and the weather. That's just how it was. And sports is not the case anymore. It just seems to be that everybody, especially in the sports world, they've got to get their 2 cents in there. They've got to get their information in there. And it looks like the NFL, they kind of had to bow to it. And they've decided to allow people to put their political thoughts out there, to put their stuff out there. And it's shown. Every league that's done that so far has had a really hard time, and they've been losing viewership and fans. And the NFL's been losing fans for years. That's why the XFL, people like the XFL, because the XFL was reassuring. It was refreshing. It went back to football. It revolved around football. It focused on football. It was all about football. And that's what we loved about it. And you guys knew I was going to get back to the XFL with this, and I kind of brought it back around. But the thing about it is that they had, their thing last night, and I didn't watch it, so I really don't know. Supposedly they played, I guess, the Black National Anthem, and I guess the Texans weren't out for that, and I guess weren't out for the National Anthem, but the Chiefs were. Some people kneeled, some people didn't. They kind of did their own thing with that, and then the Texans came out and they did this kind of unity thing, but they're all pushing this, social justice stuff and all of that with it, and supposedly there's boos. Now, there are people that are... I don't know what to believe, because I feel like part of it is like they're saying the right thing. We didn't hear any boos, or they were booing this, or they were booing that. I don't know. I wasn't there. Some people were saying that there was loud boos. You can definitely, if you watch some of the videos, there definitely were boos that were happening. But there were boos there at the stadium during this unity thing, which supposedly was supposed to be this great big show of us all coming together. when you try to bring everybody together under some one person's political views, it's not unity. The thing that unites us, and so fitting that today is 9/11, where those of us who were around then can remember that. We literally had an attack on our nation. Our nation came together. People started bringing out their flags again. People were proud to be American again. We rallied around each other. We threw our differences aside with things. We came together as a nation. It didn't matter who you were. You flew the American flag. You were proud to show, your support for our troops, your support for our nation, for our leaders, to pray for one another. And we're 19 years, not even 20 years later, and we've lost all of that. I mean, we can't even stand in honor of those who have fallen for us in our national anthem. And that's where I stand with it. That's not a political thing. It's a disrespect thing for me. And you know what? I guess, I put it out there. And again, it still goes back to, don't put your politics in sports. When people come to sports, they don't want politics. And I don't even want to go down those roads and that with it. But it just shows when you start putting that stuff out there, people don't want that. They want to break from all that. It's like, you used to go to the movies to get away from things, and now you can't get away from it there. So people turn to sports and you can't get away from it there either. It's just thrown in your face everywhere you go. And it's starting to show. People are deciding to do different things. They're deciding to go away from sports. And the biggest juggernaut was the NFL. The NFL was huge. I mean, especially when it came to viewership, it would be, the next biggest thing was basketball. You had the NBA and you had the NCAA, and they're only drawing in a quarter of the viewers that the NFL was drawing in. And so now, as you're looking at it with the NFL, now their numbers are down. Now they're projecting, right now they're down 16%, and it's going to go up because they're going to have to readjust their numbers and bring it up. And the NFL's got to do something to spin this differently, because the reality of it is this is the lowest that NBC, which does the, Sunday night football, Thursday night football, this is the lowest numbers they've had in 10 years, over a decade. This is bad. This is not good, and they need to figure this out. This trying to play the fence, trying to show, pander to this group, but also understand that you don't want to alienate this group. It's got to stop. You just need to get back to sports, let this stuff be, and I think the fans will come back. But right now, they're not going to. And a lot of people are disgruntled by it, and rightly so with some of the stuff. And because it's against what people are for. And when you're against something that somebody is for, and I don't even mean just like, a team or, a thought process, when you're against something, when they're against something and you're for it, when you get into this politics stuff, you lose people with that. And so that's what's happening. They're going down this route that they've decided to go down to, and they're losing their fans. And, it kind of shows the constant decline that the NFL has been in, and they haven't really recovered from it. They don't really get it. And, unfortunately, I don't know if they will. And this really gives the XFL an opportunity to pick up these disgruntled fans and these people with it. Now, whether or not they'll take the opportunity to do that, we'll see. We've seen some things out of the new owners, especially The Rock himself, who's come out and made some comments and some things. But we'll see what happens when they decide to actually bring the sport back. We'll see how if they do incorporate any of these politics into it, because if they do like what the NFL's done, they're just going to be like every other league and lose viewership and lose people. And people, especially with what's been going on in this world, people have been, without sports for a while. So right now is not really a good time to be throwing that stuff in there, because people can just continue on with what they've been doing, replacing sports with, and just keep that there permanently. And so, they really need to take a good hard look and at what they're doing. And if they're going to double down on what they're doing, I got a feeling they're going to lose more people. There'll be, more people like those of us out there who, don't want a part of it, don't care to have any of it in there, and don't want that. And so we just won't be watching. We won't be, purchasing anything, and we won't be doing anything. And the sad thing is like, this is almost like a double whammy for them, because they only had 17,000 people in the stands. So they could really only fill up maybe a quarter of their stadium. And so all of the other 3/4 of them would be sitting at home that you would think you would get viewership out of, but they're not. I mean, right now, compared to last year's numbers, they're pretty far down. I mean, I know that it's saying they're down 16%, but they're like around a little over half of what the final numbers were for last year after they tallied everything up with it. So it'll be interesting to see, because they've got some ground that they need to make up, with that. So I'll keep my eye on it and that with it. Try not to get political, and I'm trying to, I'm not playing the fence. I think some of you kind of know where I stand with some of this stuff, but sports were supposed to be a safe place where you could get away from all the other stuff, and you could be a fan and have an opinion and not have to worry about if somebody is, going to, throw their political views at you, try to throw some moral stuff at you, the whole social justice stuff that we got going on now. But that's not the case anymore. And it's sad that we've come to this point that we can't just have fun with our sports and have a place, that's off limits when it comes to political views. I mean, and it goes across the line with it. I know that this is a different type of video for me than I normally do. If you did like it, let me know down in the comment section, and I can cover more of this type of stuff with it, and give you kind of more of my views with that. I know I like to stick, to what's happening in the sports, but this is what we're at. Unfortunately, it's sad that in the sports world, this is where we're at. So, gonna go ahead and put this video out. Let me know what you think down in the comment section, because I love interacting with you guys, and let's have a fun, constructive, good conversation down there. All right, well, I know that you're busy, and I know that I'm busy, so let's get on out of here. You have a good night. Bye.